So I talked about gaining perspective, but how can you do that? And what would be the result of doing that? Sariputta gave us a very clear statement with regard to this subject. He says, what a Putujana considers as happiness, as pleasure, an Arya would consider it as suffering. And think about that. How could that be possible? Whatever you are currently thinking as pleasurable, enjoyable, how could that be, regarded as suffering? So you can contemplate on that topic. For example, how can you do that? This could be like a guided contemplation. You could find, mundane examples of that flipping of perspective. For example, let's say you are a smoker. So a smoker takes pleasure in smoking, a cigarette. And when he doesn't smoke, for example, for a while, he starts feeling pain of withdrawal. And in that perspective, he considers a solution to that pain as, smoking is a solution to that problem, of withdrawal. So smoking for him has the significance of pleasure, happiness, escape from suffering. But for example, somebody can quit smoking, for good. And how does that happen? So how can you do that? And what happens for somebody who has quit smoking? Does he still consider smoking, as a pleasure? So what happens is, ideally, he gains, he understands that his addiction, the extent of his addiction, he gains a perspective. Then he gains that perspective by, you can't just gain that perspective in your imagination. You have to, stop doing that first. Then the pain hits you and you will start gaining perspective. I mean, this is the only way. And when he gains that perspective, he understands his addiction is the real problem here. The real suffering is being an addict. Okay. Then not being an addict would be pleasure, happiness, with in contrast. Then what is the cause of this addiction? What is the maintenance of this addiction? The act of smoking maintains that addiction. So then what's the significance of smoking now? That which maintains your pain. Then the significance shifts by gaining this perspective. I mean, that's the same mechanism that applies to every layer of your existence. So take that same mechanism and just apply it to your whole existence, your addiction to being, for example. And that perspective will shift, like Sariputta said.